Hey, welcome back, guys. Snowfall's sixth installment dealt a major blow to our beloved game and has heightened the complicated nature of the series for the foreseeable future. I'll be breaking it all down in typical top 10 WTF fashion. Before we begin, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and bell notification to immediately receive these videos. Also, big thank you to all of my channel donors. If you'd like to be the next one, drop $1 on that Cash App for us. Lastly, a spoiler alert is now in effect for all things Snowfall. Here we go. WTF moment number 10, a death in the family. The episode began with a call from Teddy's father informing the beleaguered CIA agent that his brother died from a heart attack nearly 2 weeks prior. This was the same brother who was force-fed cocaine for days by the Colombians until Teddy could come to retrieve him. His father then added to the somber news by blaming Teddy, directly stating that it should have been him and severing their ties permanently. WTF moment number 9, withdrawal. We next see Wanda in the hospital going through a full withdrawal from the poison that claimed her life back in season 2. Her crack rock recovery was presented as a montage to the soundtrack of Bobby Womack's classic Across 110th Street, which has significance in Black inner city struggles. We witnessed Wanda experience it all, including dreams and nightmares, excessive trembling, and lack of appetite. Near the end of the ordeal, Wanda looked toward a sunshine-engulfed window, a suggestion that hope is just on the horizon for the troubled character. WTF moment number 8, 12 feet, all pressure. Franklin and Peaches are hassled by Detective Stern and his unit regarding Leon's whereabouts. Franklin feigned ignorance in the matter, opting to further save his friend. However, the police weren't having it and chose to rough up the criminal duo and illegally search their vehicle. Stern then left Franklin with the reality that someone would have to pay for that baby's death. And as we know, someone indeed did. WTF moment number 7, taking the rap. Franklin and Leon approached Fatback and asked him to surrender in the murder of Scully and Khadijah's daughter. They assured their longtime soldier that his family would be taken care of while he was away. And once he regained his freedom, he'd come home to nearly $250,000. Though initially apprehensive, Fatback agreed, bidding farewell to his comrades for what would be the last time. WTF moment number 6, instructions. Louis and Jerome made it to the former's Arkansas Connect and introduced them to the crack rock business. During their stay, Louis informed her extended family not to use the drug under any circumstances, vowing that its effects are unlike anything under the sun, including heroin. She left the skeptical couple with one last assurance: as long as you're smart and do shit the way we tell you, you'll be fine. There's honestly only one way this is gonna go, right? WTF moment number 5, Reentry to hell. Wanda is finally cleaned up and released from the hospital. Be it that her family is still strung out, she's left with nowhere to go and journeys through the same streets she used to call home. During her travels, she's able to see her former life through clear eyes, something that left her at the crossroads of temptation and renewal. She later contacted Leon and begged for his assistance in finding a place in fear of relapsing. Lee came to her aid, putting her in touch with Alton in the shelter that once housed him on the run. WTF moment number 4, replaceable. Reed confronts Franklin in a drunken stupor, reeling from the effects of his fallen sibling. He chided his distributor for increased police presence, missed drops, and refusing to hand Leon over. He then left Franklin with a cryptic thought that this commentator rightfully suggested last week: everybody is replaceable, so don't you forget that. The mere notion leaves Franklin in arguably his most vulnerable spot since Melody pulled that trigger. WTF moment number 3, Fatback slaughter. Fatback is released from jail and picked up by who he believed to be one of Franklin's people. Upon taking the trip with the beauty unknown, Fatback is lured into a seedy section of the city and confronted by Khadijah, the mother of the child murdered by Leon and his men. She pressed Fatback on Lee's whereabouts to no avail and subsequently stabbed him to death in a vicious display, even sickening her own accomplice to the assassination. WTF moment number 2, Louis' confession. While reluctantly taking the Arkansas trip with Louis, Jerome urged her to consider getting out of the drug game. In a parting exchange, Louis finally revealed the reason that neither she, Franklin, or Jerome himself can leave the game. Reed Thompson is CIA. This shocking revelation visibly startled Jerome and could lead to selfish maneuvers on his part going forward. Because as we know, Jerome has had enough of the side effects of the drug game, desiring to focus on his speaker store and live in peace. We'll see where this takes our favorite uncle. And WTF moment number 1, proof and a promise. Irene paid Alton yet another impromptu visit at his homeless shelter. During their tense exchange, she threatened to expose Franklin and the rest of the Saint family if he refused to go on record and validate her findings against the CIA and their clandestine drug trafficking operation. She even attempted to manipulate the former Panther with his revolutionary past in order to achieve her explosive journalistic aims. This maneuver has all but signed her death certificate, as it did with her real-life inspiration. Allegedly, of course. We're in for a crazy series of events going into the Final Four. Some lingering thoughts before we end today's video. The title of this episode was Say a Little Prayer, and all parties involved are gonna need one. Louis' Arkansas family, Wanda, Leon, Khadijah, Irene, Teddy, and Franklin himself are all in dire need of God's grace going into the Final Four episode. Fatback's murder was inevitable, but sad nonetheless. The faithful shooter stayed loyal to Franklin and Leon to the end and paid the ultimate price for it. The gentle giant was similar to another one that we've come to know and love via Power, who also met an unfortunate fate. Rest in peace, Fatback. This commentator will surely miss you. Salute to Add the Antihero for posing a very interesting question via my YouTube comments. What if Wanda is going to be the source for Irene's story and not Alton? Wanda was sitting right there and overheard their initial conversation. Also, she's known Franklin and his underworld dealings from the beginning and would be an excellent first-hand source for the relentless reporter. The fallout from such an undertaking could potentially lead to the ends of many roads, including Wanda's life and Franklin and Leon's brotherhood as we know it, if Saint were to harm her in any way. Let's not forget, Leon does love that woman. It just wouldn't end well for all parties. Speaking of Wanda, another notion being suggested to me is whether or not Wanda has contracted the AIDS virus. The epidemic was mentioned via news broadcast subtly, a first for the series which takes place in the same time frame, but that would be a tragic state of affairs for a character on the precipice of redemption, and equally devastate Leon, who I think has a future with the woman he loves and has dealt with enough this season already. But life comes at you fast in the Snowfall verse, so here's hoping. The woman who sets up Fatback's demise, Eureka, is the same one behind Bootsy's, Manboy's former number 2 who was crucified in the premiere. That siren has doubly proved herself to be an angel of death. However, during Fatback's grisly murder, she also proved not to have the stomach for the death that accompanies these deceptions, and may become a loose end for Khadijah the Titan going forward. We'll see. Lastly, while we're on the subject of Scully's queen, I don't think that her rampage ends with Fatback's murder. She's going to scorch earth if need be to get back at Leon, which may put her at odds with Scully, who's undergone a serious conversion in the wake of his daughter's demise. If his hand is forced, then that'll put him right back in opposition to Manboy, who many of you believe is just playing nice for now until he gets access to Franklin's plug, something more possible now than ever before. And that'll do it for this one. What were your thoughts on Say a Little Prayer? And who do you believe needs that prayer the most going into episode 7? Be sure to drop me your thoughts in the comments below. As always, I thank you for watching today's video. If you like today's video, go ahead and drop $1 on that Cash App for us, hit the like button, share it with your friends who are fans of Snowfall, and subscribe for more content such as this. This is Rudy P. Magic of Rudy P. Magic Beats, and have a blessed one until the next one. Peace, y'all.